you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a little quiet. Oh,
Uh,
maybe my volume's just down. There you go.
that's what it is.
How do you like this setup?
I like it. Welcome to the proving grounds. What are we watching back there?
Rogue TV. Rogue TV is now streaming live surf days, like an entire day at Pipeline.
Oh, sweet. Well, look at that, Rogue TV. Thanks for the gift
I know,
on
pretty
this
cool, right?
economic blackout Friday.
Are you participating in the blackout?
Yeah, I am. Are you?
I really don't know how to participate. What do we need to do?
That you just don't you need to not go to buy something on Amazon today or Walmart or Target. It's like I think it's if you need to buy something, try not to buy anything today, but if you need to, go buy from a small business or a local small business.
Just for one day?
Yeah, just one day. It's easy.
Okay, yeah, I
I don't,
don't
I
know.
don't do any of that stuff anyway, so
I may have already made an Amazon purchase today. And I start mid-morning.
you can. I think it's a 24 hour. So I'm gonna say, I don't know. I was just reading about it, and they were saying, have you read anything about it?
Saw your wife post something a week ago,
Yeah, I mean that's
but
who's forcing me to do it. But but also I don't shop at any of those stores generally in any case, but also I was just reading about it and it's cool. Like some dude, it seems cool. Some dude is just like sick of it, man. Let's show, the billionaires and all these people who has the power. We have the power as the American people and we can show them just by not buying stuff on one day. And dude was just like, dude did it. I think he had a small Instagram following. Wasn't a social activist guy. I don't know what he is. He's like a mindfulness guy or something like that. But just put it out to his followers and just thought a few of his followers would maybe do it. But it accidentally caught on, and like the pundits who are writing about it are like they don't know how this thing is getting so big. But yeah, the fact that we are talking about it here is testament to I mean they're saying to anger amongst the population of wealth, wealth gap and all this kind of stuff.
what's it really going to do? That's my question. Like,
That's
who has the power? We have the power. We'll block it out for one day, but I'll be back tomorrow to buy whatever wasn't going to buy today.
precisely. I mean, that's what they were saying that or the people writing about it are, obviously doubtful that it will do anything, except for the fact that I think it's gotten public, shows consumer anger. And I think that is a feeling that the big corporations need to be aware of.
Yeah. Let's hope it can correct their behavior in some small way, if nothing
Sure,
else. Yeah.
sure.
Well, okay. I'll tell you what I need to do is just stop spending money in general. So
Yep.
let's do that. It's a good reminder to just pull the reins in a little
I'm with
bit.
you. It's nice. It's nice when you have no money to spend. It makes boycotts a lot easier.
That's true. That makes
Yeah.
it a way, way easier.
Yeah.
But okay, so we've all been through ebbs and flows in our life of cash rich, cash poor.
Yes.
The important thing is to maintain the mentality that you currently have next time that big payday comes.
I mean, exactly. To live cash poor.
That is the key. That's the way
Yeah.
my grandma did it her entire life. That's the way I need to learn.
Yep. Happy people who just would penny pinch, like squeeze the joy out of life everywhere they could and just have some money in the bank.
It's
Joyless
it,
money.
it's interesting. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. Well, money doesn't bring joy anyways. So
Sure doesn't.
it's joyless no matter where it is. Um, it's weird how perspective is so fleeting, right? Like
Yeah.
how hard it is to maintain that idealized perspective or whatever you envision as your idealized perspective, to maintain that through the ups and downs is it's one of life's greatest challenges.
Really is. The even keel, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the finance one is weird too. Like down money times really do cause like more frustration and whatever than maybe they should otherwise.
Yeah. No, it totally does because it comes back.
Yeah.
But when you're in the thick of that or in the throes of destitution, it's like
Oh,
there's no light at
yeah,
the end of the tunnel.
how am I going to get to tomorrow?
So this is the moment we advertise. We're going on Patreon next week.
Great. Perfect lead
uh,
in.
yeah, perfectly. And I wasn't planning on announcing that, but really, ultimately, we do need to do that. I mean, independent kind of funding is, I think, the way of, well, I was going to say the future, but it's also been the way of the past for podcasters. We're just late to the game. We have a subscription platform set up on surfsplendorpodcast.com, obviously, that people do support, and we do. It's necessary. It's the foundation of the business because advertising, it comes in ebbs and flows, but having those kind of bricks of foundation are essential for us. But the thing that we haven't done great is not incentivizing anybody to sign up. And so ultimately, I think what we're looking at is we're going to do premium content. We're just going to do like a bonus episode a week, make that available for subscribers. If you're currently subscribed, that'll directly go out to you already automatically. So no worries there. But then if you want to subscribe in the future and get that content, we're going to utilize the Patreon platform in addition to our own, just because that's what people are familiar with using. And it's also a community. It's like a great way to have everything all in one place for commenting, extra engagement from the show hosts, things like that. So look forward to that potentially next week.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Um, how do you like my studio?
I like it. I like it. It's all new. It's working.
The projection on the back is a little washed out still. I adjusted some settings. That's why I was late to join the call. But the settings doesn't seem like they made any difference. So I'll have to work on that a little bit more.
Does Rogue TV, so they have we talked about this before, but they have like announcers basically who are sitting there talking about the action in the water at Pipeline or wherever.
Correct. So Rogue TV is the platform, and they do streaming live events or just live sessions and for action sports. They employed Mike Prickett, who has a production company called Salt and Air Studio. Um, so Mike Prickett, famous surf cinematographer, and went on to work in Hollywood and stuff in the recent decades. But so he has a production company. He has the drones. He shows up and documents everything and streams it. And then I'm not sure if it's him or Rogue who then has the commentator element as well. But yes, at this day at Pipeline, 4 or 5 days ago is when they shot this. They did have a commentary team as well.
It's great.
The
It's
only
such a good idea.
So, and it's really, really well executed, by the way. The only
Yeah.
thing they don't do is judging, which is
Yeah.
great as well. But yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to Rogue TV. You can go subscribe on their YouTube channel or on their app. They have an app that you can stream from. And then I don't know, in the future, maybe we'll just play different surf videos. I'd like to play any clips that you and I are discussing in the show, of course.
Great.
Um, but
Professional.
at any rate, that's what I'll have going behind me on this. I'll eventually figure out a way to project it so my head isn't blocking it as well. But until then, just enjoy a little moving something behind my head.
The what Rogue TV should do is they should have a leaderboard of the day based on, I mean, either people vote or whatever. It'd be fun to see who is considered or who the people are considering having the best session in any given day.
Yeah, the day's champ.
Yeah,
They do a good job of identifying the surfers in the lineup too.
great.
Because like, they're not wearing jerseys, obviously, but it'll be some random pipe surfer whose name I don't know because they're not a professional surfer, but these guys, the commentators are so tuned in that they know.
Astute.
Exactly. Okay, well, hey, Chaz Smith, we've got quite the show today. It's February 28th, the last day of the month of February of 2025. Welcome back to The Grit. He's Chaz Smith. I'm David Scales. Nicolas Cage just dropped a trailer for his latest film, The Surfer. You and I discussed this, I think, when they just put out like the tiniest little teaser a few months
Yep.
back, but now the full trailer is available. The movie's coming out next month in America, I think 6 months later in Australia. Did you watch the trailer?
I still haven't. I've been sent it multiple times and I need to get on it. One of those, do you ever have those things that keep coming in and it's so easy to do? It will take what? How long is the trailer? 2 minutes? Minute
Yeah.
30?
Yeah.
Yeah. It will take a minute 30. It's something I want to do and watch, but for some reason, I just haven't been able to get to it yet. I have not been able to clear a minute 30 from the schedule.
Uh, it, I will not spoil it, but I will give you my opinion. I think it looks phenomenal. I have
Of course.
unreasonably high hopes for this film.
Of course. No. I mean, I read from the day I read the treatment and saw that little clip that when it went to con and all that. I thought this has the potential to be the greatest surf movie ever.
It got a standing ovation
Yeah,
at Con. So it's all about tone, you know? And North Shore, the film North Shore and the film Point Break, they were trying to make surfing serious. Surfing isn't serious.
yeah,
It's a frivolous pursuit, you know? And so this film, it's a thriller, dark comedy slash thriller. And it as any good thriller, it should build tension. You know, it's all about tension, and it looks like it does that very effectively in this kind of Hitchcock style of filmmaking. And but it's set in a surfing environment, so it's in Australia, Western Australia, and the surfers. Nicolas Cage is from this town, and he goes away and he comes back, and the locals don't want to let him surf there, or they don't even want to let him be there. So it's set in this environment where there's unreasonable people being increasingly unreasonable throughout and really trying to diminish this singular human. And he is being pushed to the brink until he ultimately goes rogue. And so you're rooting for that guy to go rogue, you know, the protagonist of the film to go rogue. But it isn't as serious as Falling Down. Like when you watched Falling Down when you were young, the Michael, what is that
yeah.
guy's name? Michael Douglas
Douglas.
movie. That's dead serious. You know, this is made in a totally different tone where you're rooting for him as much and he's going to go as rogue, but it's kitschy. And
I don't know. I thought Falling Down had some kitsch to it. I mean, it was like
Falling
when
Down
he,
had humor to it.
yeah, when
There
he
was no
snapped,
kitsch.
yeah, it had humor to it. You're right. It wasn't a kitschy film.
Yeah. So, like, dodgeball as a sport is not serious. And that's why Ben Stiller was able to so effectively lampoon a children's game, you know? This isn't that lampoony or kitschy. This is somewhere in between. It's like a serious adult film, but made like in the way that Raising Arizona almost had a similar tone. That wasn't a thriller, that was more comedy, but it's almost like that.
What I like about from what I both read and the little I've seen, and again, I'm cannot wait to watch this new full trailer, but they took it's like set in surfing. It's not about surfing, right?
Correct. Correct.
Uh that's one thing. And then they took the director and writer took an element of surfing that is true, like the territorialism and surfers hating other surfers, all this, that's something to build a movie around, right? Like, and
Totally.
especially if you're doing it in this way, you can't do it super serious because it's ridiculous to be angry that somebody else is going to paddle in the ocean and sit next to you. And yet, we all have those feelings as surfers, right? And so we are ridiculous, but we are also at the same time angry. And so to marry ridiculousness with anger, I feel I mean, that's tells the story right there.
And that's why surfing is the perfect setting for that exact thing,
Yeah.
is that surfing is a frivolous child's pursuit. And now you have man children, man childs who are trying to protect this thing. They're
Yeah.
trying to protect their dodgeball and they are going to kill you to do it. That is a silly, it's a relatable concept. It comes embedded in our nature, but that's why surfing is the perfect vehicle to do this with.
I mean, imagine the times back in your life that you've yelled or almost
Yeah,
gotten into a fight or have gotten into a fight in the lineup over riding waves, right?
I
It
know.
is asinine to even think about, but I will paddle out today later probably and very likely either yell at somebody or whistle at somebody or mean mug somebody who I think did me wrong.
And even if you don't, it'll bubble up inside of you. You might tamp it down because you're an adult, but it bubbles up no matter what because it's in our DNA.
It's ridiculous, but it's funny
Um,
and it's true.
I also think like when I watched it, I was like, here's a perfect recipe for success if you're a filmmaker. Find a stereotype of an annoying people. So Australians can be annoying.
Yeah.
The
Right.
accent, the way of being, whatever. Let's amplify, turn it to 11, you
Yeah.
know? And then here are our antagonists in the film. We're just going to skewer them. And you're going to root for the protagonist so hard because here's this annoying trait in this particular stereotype, and we're just going to skewer it. It's guaranteed. And then you put Nicolas Cage, you get some Cage rage going. We're all in. I'm going to buy a ticket if I see Cage rage, you know?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like I'm hoping this thing is not just a streamer. Do you know Is it getting a theatrical release?
Yeah. Yeah, it comes in theaters next month.
Because this is the sort of film that I want to go to the theater to watch, and especially to go to the theater in a surfy town, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to be the energy in there would be fun. We should do a screen date somewhere down
Y-
here in Southern California.
A listener joint takeover, theater takeover.
Yeah, theater takeover. Just put the date up, the time up, and just go. Everyone buy your tickets.
This will be Austin's first movie theater experience.
I mean, as it should be. That's great because you even when you're young, and I feel my first movie theater experience was at 3 as well. Is he 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-ish. Maybe I was 4. I'm pretty sure must have been 4. But it was Empire Strikes Back,
Oh, yeah.
I think. At least in my memory, that's what it is. And I still have vivid memories of that.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I don't know if it was my first, but I remember Gremlins being a very early one for me.
Yeah. And I mean, I think your first movie or whatever becomes established as the first movie in your mind has impact.
Yeah, totally. Um, the other funny thing about the trailer is Nick Cage, born in Australia, grew up there, comes back there with his son. That's why he's coming back in the film. Has zero Australian accent. Doesn't even make an attempt.
I love that. I love that so much when this is already acting, right? We're already suspending disbelief to watch this story. And so why not just scrub the accent? It's so much more. I mean, a picture, remember oh, what was it? King of Thieves, the Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner,
Yeah,
where Kevin Costner,
Prince of Thieves.
Prince of Thieves,
Yeah, yeah.
where Kevin Costner put on kind of a half attempt at a British accent that sort of disappeared and would ebb and flow through the film. And it was so grating and annoying. You would way rather him just have zero accent, right? So,
Totally.
I mean, Nicolas Cage might be funny with an Australian accent, but it also might just great enough to take a phenomenal film and bump it down to, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is there's always other actors in the film, and it's like if you're in this period piece in this era, you have to really nail it. Like everybody across the cast has to nail it, and they almost never ever do.
Yeah.
So you'll have somebody, and they're all of different origins too. So you have like a Scottish woman trying to do an English accent, and then an Australian playing a role trying to do an English accent, and then an American doing an English accent, a New Yorker, and then a LA actor doing an English accent. It doesn't all overlap. So it's almost better just abandon it all, and we will suspend disbelief.
Exactly. And I mean, I feel that, I get that accent is part of the texture and tone of a story. But for example, have you watched any of the Knives Out?
Just the first one.
Yeah, but and this, I don't find them very good. My bro calls them smart movies for stupid people. Uh uh
That's
but
hilarious.
yeah.
That's how I felt about the first, but that's why I never
Yeah.
watched any of the other ones. It was
Yeah,
like
because it's
it's
really dumb. Got a real dumb premise and it's really easy to solve. But then you could think of a dumb person sitting in the theater just thinking, my mind's getting blown right now.
well,
Uh,
there's enough flashiness, there's enough
yeah,
like sexiness and flashiness on the screen that that'll keep you a little distracted to think that it's actually sophisticated.
but it's absolutely not. But anyway, what is his name? Benoit Craig, Daniel Craig's like Southern Louisiana Cajun accent is so over the top. And I know that obviously it's so over the top they did it on purpose, but it's like, what's the point? What you're just making me annoyed at an already fairly annoying film.
Yeah, that's funny. On another note, good films. I watched Nosferatu last week.
Ooh, I wanted to see that in the theater myself, but I didn't get around to it. Is it
It's
worth it?
yeah, it's streaming on Peacock now, which is why I watched it. It was excellent.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to theater that one up.
I've seen a few different versions of, that film. This one was by far the most entertaining and just got unhinged towards the end.
Who is it's the two actors, famous actors in it. It's
Yeah, Nicholas Holt plays
Nicholas Holt.
plays the, um, I don't even know what his job is, but he's the one who ends up doing battle with Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And then, God, one of the Skarsgård brothers.
Yeah.
I
Got
forget
it.
which one. The one with the wide eyes who plays it.
Nicholas Holt is one of my favorite actors.
Except he did juror number two.
That sucked so bad. He got snookered into that one.
He's done a bunch of films like this year that are all, or they're at least all dropping this year, but Nosferatu is the best by far.
Do you recall the first time you saw Nicholas Holt
Of
on screen?
course, about a boy.
Yeah, it shocks me every time, or it doesn't shock me anymore, but it did shock me for years that About a Boy became this guy.
Well, because he was so goofy looking in
Yeah,
About
I
a Boy and
know.
he turned into a handsome man.
I mean, he was a model for a while. He was the face of Dior or something.
That's right. Forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Oh,
Married a girl who's from Huntington Beach area that I
look at
used to
that.
see around and stuff. Yeah. So
Look at that. I wonder if Nicholas Holt is embroiled in the Huntington Beach Library drama.
you're the one who informed me about that, and I've seen it in the news ever since, and it's very, very silly. Anyways, moving on from films and into the Weekend Van's business report slash gossip column, the segment that gets smaller and smaller every single week because it's about surf news.
And there really is. Let's just be all frank and honest. This is a podcast about surfing. Surfing is getting something is happening with surfing where there's just less and less and less. Besides the surfing, still great to go surfing, but the surf culture, the professional surf league, is just dumb.
Well, I have a theory about that. Um, and maybe we'll come back to the surf news segment in a second. Not only is it smaller and smaller, but it gets shelved each week too. And here's my theory on that. Um, remember we did the five S's of how to find a woman for
Yes.
Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
So a listener commented and said, "Hey, your talk about the five S's of relationships got me thinking you guys should come up with the five S's of surfing. Great show as usual. Cheers." So I was like, that's kind of an interesting, like, what elements constitute good surfing? And we could probably put them into the WSL tries to define a judging criteria with speed, power, and flow, but
Yeah.
there's got to be some other way for us to define quality surfing. I can't imagine we can come up with all S's, but maybe there are
I would
five
like
words.
I would like to extend that beyond this act of surfing itself
Hmm.
into surf culture. What makes quality surf culture, right? Or your relationship with surfing writ large, not just the act of surfing.
Style,
Yeah. Uh, s-
guaranteed, right? That has to be number one.
yeah. Substance.
Oh,
There's,
wow. Okay,
there's,
let me add that to my notes. I'm not sure. I got to think through it, but is that a good offer?
I,
Substance, because what does that mean?
I feel substance, it has to be rooted deeper than just like I see for example, there was some nice swell hitting the other day, and I saw it was like big enough, sizey. And I saw these two dork kids. They weren't kids. They were probably, I don't know, upper teens, low 20s, but full dorks, just walking, with their crappy wetsuits. They're like crappy, cheap Costco wetsuits and their wave storms. And I just thought there's no substance there, right? These guys know nothing. They know nothing about what they're doing. They know nothing about what's happening. They know zero history. They know nothing about this culture, right? So I think substance is a knowledge, appreciation, and hunger for, the culture. For you want to
Hmm.
know something about it. You don't just want to be out there, I surf because I went into Costco and I got a surfboard.
Okay. I like the thought. I have to think more deeply about it because
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to define it really.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, tough. But I think an appreciation of the culture. I mean,
Okay.
that's a substantial appreciation of the culture, I will say. Like
Yeah, exactly.
that goes beyond my favorite surfer is Kelly Slater. I have a wave storm and my wetsuit is, cost me $50 because I got it on a flash sale at Target.
So I've got a test that we can apply to this. And remember when we were doing like celebrities who surf, and the real litmus test for them is, do they know who Tom Curren is?
Yes. Yeah.
So Matthew McConaughey, great that you stood up in a wave pool with Raymana pushing you, but you're not a surfer yet. Do you know
Yeah.
who Tom Curren is? You know?
Yes.
So the litmus test for the substance thing could just be
Tom,
hold
do you
up.
know?
No, no, no. Even better. Hold up the Tom survey photo of Tom Curren doing the cutback on the Maurice Cole reverse
Yep.
V.
That's it.
And you just say, who, you got to answer these questions. Who is this? Where
Where
was
is
this
it?
photo taken? Who is the photographer? Um, what year? We'll give you a 3-year grace period. And if you can name the surfboard shaper, bonus point. You're in the
Exactly.
club.
That is 100% it. That is 100% exactly the bar.
And then if you win, or if you get it all correct, you get a little badge with an S that stands for substance. We pin it on your lapel,
Perfect. I
your
love
wetsuit lapel.
it.
My third S was going to be speed. And this was before you said it needs to apply to surf culture. I was just thinking about fundamentals of surfing, and speed is kind of the what you want to do.
A and B, I think if you can get speed, of course, it shows that you have at least a rudimentary understanding of the way the wave is working, of where the pocket
Correct.
is and how to pump on a wave, right? Which is, of course, I think an oft overlooked feature because it's should be so innate, but I don't think it is. You see a lot of people out there. I'll watch a lot of people who have really no idea like where the pocket on the wave is, right? They're either way too down low
Sure.
or they're way too high or something is wrong with their understanding. Where and then oftentimes you'll see, or if I'm sitting, at the beach with kid or whatever and not surfing, just watching surfing, uh, you'll see people not correct mistakes. They will catch a wave and be in the wrong spot and catch the next wave and be in the wrong spot and catch the next wave and be in the wrong spot. I think if you can go fast on a wave, it shows that at least you have an understanding where the pocket is and how to get in it
Well,
and how to drive speed from it.
I just was struck with a Kook and Curren.
Tell
The
me.
Kook and Curren is not pumping on a wave,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
the
yeah.
ultimate expression of speed is you actually don't ever pump. I
Yeah.
mean, I've never seen Aki pump a surfboard. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or
Yeah.
very, very little Kelly pump a surfboard. So not pumping on a wave, you have those few who could go faster than anybody and never. Mick Fanning, White Lightning, never pumps his surfboard. He
Yep.
does a bottom turn and he does high lines,
Yeah.
and everything else he's driving power through a cutback. Um, and then you see Kooks going straight, not fast, but not pumping. You and I pumping the
Pump.
life out of our
Yeah.
surfboard.
That's
Our
really,
surfboard's
really
like,
true.
give me a break,
That
dude.
is so true. That is exactly true. Pumping is it's the intermediate, lower intermediate, whatever, solve to finding speed to where you still don't really understand the wave all that well, but at least you know it enough to fake generate your own speed.
I mean, this is getting cemented in right now. I
For
just
sure.
added
It's
it.
done. It's done.
Wow, well done. Okay, but now this brings me back to the original point of um, no surf news.
Yeah.
Okay, in these 5 S's, a submission came in from the writer Quinn in Delaware, and he said, "I think we need to make a criteria for expression." So he said, quote, "I feel like a big part of surfing is expression, inward and outward. Turning and going on an 8 foot double up is both about expressing something to yourself, but it's also about expressing it to your fellow surfers. How you approach the wave, whether you move with a steady tempo, linking turns into a succession like Owen Wright, or generate as much speed as you can to do one massive turn like Dane Reynolds. It's expressing yourself in a way that makes you happy inside, and perhaps more importantly, it's an outward expression of the rest of the lineup endorsing you, um, the way that, or for the way that you want others to perceive your surfing, and possibly as a surfer and a person. The best feeling is when you are both happy about the performance and how you expressed yourself, and it is contemporaneously validated by your peers. And I don't mean that your peers say, "Oh, you surf that wave well," or "You that was a sick turn," but that actually left an impression that you intended to leave. What you wanted to express was actually expressed well enough that the stimulus resulted in the same inward, personal, and outward, peer response to the expression, end quote.
Love it.
And so this
Nice and philosophical.
so this makes me feel like I want to shut the F up. Like, let the surfing do the talking. And when I think about my favorite surfers, they're men of very few words. Tom Curren, Clay Marzo, John Florence, Chris Ward when I was young. They just surfed, did very few interviews, didn't really need to explain what their surfing was about, and that's it. And so then I think, well, what is this surf news void that we're talking about? We just want to watch good surfing. We're done talking about it.
I'm going to add a wrinkle here for you.
Okay.
Uh, so Chris Ward, Tom Curren, who were your other examples?
Clay Marzo, John Florence.
Clay Marzo, John Florence. They shut up. They didn't have to speak, right? They didn't want to speak. That's not what they're good at. Guess who they had speaking for them? Brands.
Us.
I mean, not necessarily. They had brands, right? This is the day. So the death of the surf brand. These guys would get surfers with the brand's ethos and then build the ethos around that, right? So Lost, Lost surfboards, and especially when they were doing clothing, could brand Wardo as out of control, da 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 da. That was rock and roll, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was so you like Wardo, you like that ethos, right? You like the sort of 90s punk San Clemente thing. Lost brands that for you. I think Dane Reynolds former brands him now or helps with that with his brand now. But early days, Quicksilver, right, would brand Dane as this. And then there would be a team of guys on Quicksilver, in terms of quick, including Clay Marzo. But thinking back even to, early gotcha days or to what, like I mean, Hurley with John early on, or that super Hurley team. Remember when they had everyone, when Hurley had Kalohe and John and Carissa and da-da-da. Like, and so if you were like I'm a New York Yankees fan. I like the best stuff. I like Hurley. I like John because he's the best and on the best team. But with the death or demise of surf brands and marketing people, because all these marketing people back in the day were surfers, right? They weren't like New York kooks everyone was surfing and surfers and knew the culture, and all this goes away. Now ABG in New York has somebody who has never surfed in their life branding whatever. And so it's just a random. So there's no texture anymore, right? We've lost it all.
Yeah. And the surfers who are making a living are managing their own media and their own profile and therefore required to speak.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, and John probably has to speak now more than he would like to, but he doesn't. John has built Florence. He has built a company with great people, with surfers, with his family, so that he doesn't really have to, like the Florence brand and the Florence brand ethos speaks what John doesn't with words, basically.
He's he's tasked them really delegated responsibility really well so that they understand his ethos well enough to speak for him.
Exactly. And you get the idea of who John is. Right?
Yeah.
He likes adventure. He
Yeah.
likes searching for the unknown. Like, and then Florence encapsulates this. But once again, with the death of Quicksilver, Volcom, Hurley, Billabong, all of these, and like there's just nobody telling those stories. The small brands do, like, which is again why we should support the small brands.
Yeah. Totally agree. Well, we got to the bottom of that.
But
But
what's the
back
surf news though?
back to
Back in the
surf
weekend
news.
van.
Yeah, thank you. Weekendvans.com, obviously at weekendvans on Instagram. Check them out if you need a sprinter van and you want it built out to the top of the line kind of quality. You cannot do it yourself. You employ the
after
professionals.
after and experiencing a weekend van, after driving a weekend van, and even taking a nap in the weekend van, I look now at other Sprinter vans kitted out every time. Now I have a taste for it, right? I know what works. I know I'll walk past the Sprinter vans lining the beach and just say, "You guys don't know what you're doing." I'll look, 9/10 of them are bad use of space, not that functional. It's just like, man, you could have taken it to weekend vans and done it a lot better.
I've been offended even when I look at them. I have to look the other way,
Yeah,
avert my gaze. Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, totally. All right. Well, Weekend Van's business report. Carissa Moore gives birth.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Major news.
Congratulations, Carissa Moore. Huge news.
Good for her.
Yeah, great
Great.
move.
Carissa Moore obviously is one of the better people on earth at everything, and no doubt she'll also be one of the better mothers on earth, raising one of the better children on earth, and the cycle will hopefully continue with her child just being angelic. It's a boy, girl. I can't remember.
I actually don't know.
Hmm.
One
Yeah,
more is all that I know.
that's
Um,
all we need.
yeah, and the other kind of big headline viral moment this week was the jet ski incident at NAZARÉ. Did you see this clip?
I did not see the clip.
Oh my gosh.
Explain. Yeah.
How did you miss the clip?
I missed Nazare. Was it during the contest?
No, this was just like 2 days ago, probably 3 days ago.
Oh,
I
straight
mean,
missed it.
the funny thing is we all missed the contest intentionally. It was in my show notes last week. We didn't even reference it.
JP Curry claimed that it was like one of the greatest events he's ever seen.
So did that encourage you to watch it?
I haven't gone back and watched it, but he sat through the whole thing and said it was like you couldn't turn away. He claimed.
Well, strangely, I still don't feel compelled. No offense. I trust that he's correct. Still don't feel compelled personally. But the jet ski incident, Will Santana and ski driver Daniel Wrangle. So Will Santana ate it on a wave. This is a big, you know what Nazare looks like. It's a big day. There's waves breaking in a vast playing field, and no channel, obviously. And so Will, quote, Will popped up and I went to grab him. Daniel went to grab him, but I got so focused on trying to find him that in retrospect, I should have looked back and seen that a wave was close to us. You,
Oops.
you think, Daniel?
Uh,
But I hesitated because of all the whitewash. I started being pulled back up the wave. I knew that it would be better for us to get swallowed, or I knew that if we were going to get swallowed, we should bail. I went one way, he went the other, and we did not hit the ski, is what he said. But if you watch this footage, what you'll see is it's all whitewash, frothy soup. And he's pointing the ski at the beach. So you see the wave approaching behind him. And it is like the second, third, or fourth wave in the set. So it is the entire wave is all that froth. And he's struggling to get to his partner. And the wave literally they're on like the middle of the face of the wave getting sucked back up and it breaks over them like it barrels over them, so there's probably a worse scenario where they would have got sucked into the lip and then broke
and then
with the
pounded.
lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, got sucked over the falls essentially. This was literally the wave barrels over them, and it's a 40, like legit 40 footer, like you cannot see the bottom of the wave, you can't see the top of the wave, you just see these guys, the ski and the guy next to him, getting kind of sucked up the wave, and it just fully engulfs them. So it is the almost worst case scenario.
Imagine the wincing you'd be doing. Not only are you getting ragdolled by a 40-foot wave at Nazare, but when you like are out at your local, a little bit bigger maybe, and you duck dive, but it's like a violent one, and maybe you're getting really rocked into there, but there was somebody else
Oh yeah.
near you or whatever. And you're like, is that guy gonna, you're just in that wince position, like thinking, is that guy gonna hold on to his board? This guy better hold on to his board. Like, but is he going to? So you're like prepared to take the impact of the board. And that's like a small day. Imagine 40-foot Nazare, you're getting rolled and wincing. Is my ski gonna cut my leg off while I'm down here?
I mean, just and completely draw and quarter your body,
Yeah,
like if you get hit by a ski that's being thrown by a Nazare wave, you could lose a limb, easily lose
easily.
limbs,
You
like
lose your
just blow
head.
your body apart. Like it's an insane thought. Um,
Coming up after that, you'd have to have such a sense of relief before the
yeah.
horrors of what happened hit you. You'd have to be like, I cannot believe I made it.
I mean, if you're just a spectator on the cliff or watching the video, um, you're wincing the entire as you're seeing it come together. You're like, there's no way. This is
Yeah.
like CGI. It looks crazy. Crazy that they would even put themselves in that position. But that thing that you're talking about of when you're paddling out and a set's approaching and there's a kook in front of you, I'm not worried about myself. I haven't been worried about myself for quite some time. I don't put
Yeah.
myself in giant surf, obviously, but like I'm okay if I need to duck dive any impact zone situation. And even if I get blown apart, I feel like I can stand it or I can withstand it. But my problem in the last decade has been other kooks in the lineup because that set's approaching and you're assessing. You're like, there's three guys paddling in front of me. That guy knows what he's doing. I'm fine there. I could actually just get behind him probably.
Yeah.
Those two guys, oh my God, that looks like a nightmare. There's no way. So instead of me paddling into the position that would be best for me to navigate the wave, I'm now paddling away from them. I'm beelining away from them as far as I can because I know they're going to ditch their board, you know?
I mean, that I was just out a couple days ago, and there was like, it wasn't that crowded, but there was like a kook kind of old dude, not even that old, like young enough to be able to hold onto his board, but over there somewhere. And I was like staying away from him on purpose. Then paddled out after a wave, and there was some just shortboarder guy sitting there rubbing his back, saying, "That guy, he got me. Like he bailed his board." And I was just thinking, that should be an instant send in. Like if
Yeah.
you bail your board and hit somebody in the lineup, then it should be an instant to the beach. If you bail, like get how sometimes a wave can be explosive enough where it just absolutely blows you up in your duck dive,
Yeah.
where your board is ripped out of your hands. But if you bail a board and it hits somebody, you should be forced to the beach.
100%. And the problem for me is that like now I should always be focused on the ocean itself and like because I'm out here surviving. Instead, now I'm focused on all you idiots.
Yeah,
You know, my
that's the
my
worst.
my focus is no longer on the actual biggest threat. You guys have become a bigger threat to me than the ocean.
Yeah. Oh man, it's the worst these days too. Yeah. Well, I don't even need to talk more about that. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating that people just don't know the basic etiquette of the most simple basic hold on to your board. Like, and if you cannot hold on to your board, then do not surf.
It,
Like, or like if you're on a crappy longboard, like this dude was on a big orange longboard. Sorry, that board is too big for you. Very clearly. You
yeah.
don't know how to handle that board. You got to get something you can duck dive or stop surfing.
If you don't have control over your board and you don't know how to duck dive, go down the beach. Do not
Yeah.
surf in the crowd. Go learn down the beach.
Yeah.
And duck diving is part of learning how to surf.
Yeah.
Um, well, thank you, Weekend Vans. That is all we got for the business report, but we do have a lot of other things to address from our long, hardcore listeners. One comes in the form of a tool to live by. So
Great.
let's pull up this listener call. I'm going to share the sound with you. And by the way, Tools to Live By is presented by Veyer Watches, which I've got this beautiful, and you've got one too. You've got the dive watch. I've got this kind of dress band on a chronograph watch.
Real
Veyer,
pretty.
Veyer is VAER, and we'll save you 15%. VeyerWatches.com/surf splendor. Also, Chaz, they outfit all of the North Shore lifeguards now with watches.
Amazing. And you know what I saw just the other day at VeyerWatch.com? Is it VeyerWatches.com?
Yeah,
Uh, they have a one with I think the US Forest Service, an official Smokey the Bear watch.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Look at
Limited
them.
edition. So hop on. It's an epic looking watch. It's got Smokey the Bear, but I think limited. So hop on and grab that thing.
Yeah, Veyer, hook a brother up, man. Okay, let's go. Listener call.
Hey, what up, gentlemen? I got a surf dilemma I need some help with. So, my buddy takes off on a wave, on the shoulder and inside with perfect vision as to his ride. My buddy gets into a I'm getting barreled stance, but does not actually get in the tube. He kicks out with proud language, like you can tell he thought he was in the tube. And I immediately had to tell him, no barrel. Was I in the wrong for killing his moment, despite the fact that no barrel was actually there to be had? Work.
It's a time-honored question.
I think in a lot of our life's relationships with your wife, with your children, with your husband, with your parents, with et cetera, on down the line, your best friends. Yes, honesty is the best policy 93% of the time. There is those times we all know when you just have to be complimentary to loved ones, right? It's being brutally honest is not what the situation calls for, and you're just gonna people are gonna not you're gonna make people sad totally pointlessly, right? That dies in the ocean. It is 100% truth telling out there, right? Everyone should be very aware. There is only you did or you didn't. There is no try. There's no
There is
almost. There's no, yeah, you almost sick.
there's
No,
nothing healthy about delusion.
no.
So there's
Especially surf. I think there's something healthy about being lightly diluted on land. There's nothing healthy about surf delusion.
I mean, look, your buddy just did arguably the kookiest move in surfing because in the process of learning to surf, everybody goes through that where you get a pocket ride and you start to see like the wave cresting near your face, but it's not going over your head. You don't see it. I'm a regular footer, so my right eye is getting, I could see the curl coming up near my right eye, but it's not coming around to my left eye, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but I see that right eye and I'm like, oh my gosh, we've
Here we,
all
yeah,
gone through
yeah,
this learning curve, right?
yeah.
And so the kookiest possible move is when somebody on the beach witnesses you not getting barreled and then you claim the thing hard. Now, this is what happened to our dear caller. His friend pulled the kookiest move of all time. It is incumbent upon you, the friend, to reality check him
Yeah,
because they just looked like a kook. You don't want your
yeah.
friend to look like a kook. They don't know they look like a kook. It's your responsibility to let them know. And so it's if their breath smells bad, it's your responsibility to be like, bro, we went surfing in the morning. You didn't brush your teeth when you woke up. This is not acceptable. Go
And
home.
you're saving him or her from doing it again, right? Like you might not be there next time, and it might be even more egregious next time. Like there might be somebody that they want to impress your friend in the lineup, or somebody that they are, wanting to be in a relationship with, or who knows who could be out there. And you pull that, and all bets are off at that point. You are done.
Here's the logical line of conclusion. You want your buddy to actually experience a real barrel. So diluting him into thinking that that was a barrel won't help him get to the actual barrel. But also, if you don't tell him what really happened, everybody else in the lineup witnessed it. No more waves for him.
Yeah,
Everybody in the lineup assesses him as a kook. So the next set wave that comes through that is going to barrel, there's no chance they're letting you pull priority on that. Even if you're sitting in the right position, I'm burning you because you're
yeah.
such a kook, you don't even know what you're doing. But if you actually tell him and he gets an awareness and then can level up and position and try harder, he can ultimately work his way into the actual barrel. So diluting him to make him think that he actually got barreled is
Wrong.
pointless. Pointless. But here's the thing, this work was too easy. This call was too easy. There was an obvious answer for you and I both. So what we really need to do here is advise how to appropriately roast your buddy, I think.
I
Like
mean,
what's the right way to like let them know?
I just think it, nope, like, nope, like a direct, you don't need, there needs to be no metaphor. You don't need to say that was like if, I was on a roller coaster and I put my hands up after the thing came, no, the surfing is its own metaphor. So you just look at him, shake his head, say, nope, you are not in the barrel. Simple, straight, direct.
Your leash got barreled, Jamie O'Brien, but that's about it, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Exactly.
Um, and the final thought here is lighthearted jabbing is amongst friends is what relationships are built from. These are the bonds that make men.
And for sure, and I will double down on also though, surfing is the place and the time in each and every one of our lives to be brutally honest with ourselves and those around us, right? It is, you're going to get your
Yeah.
feelings hurt at some point if you think you rip and you don't, right? If you are not assessing your own ability in the water, if you think, I'm pretty good, I'm not that bad, pretty good surfer, I'm pretty good. And then you see a video of yourself or a buddy sees a video of you and says, you're bro, no. That's heartbreak right there. Save
Yeah,
yourself from that heartbreak by brutally assessing yourself and those around you.
totally agree. By the way, production note, I'm realizing as we're sitting here and I'm looking at myself, I'm going to switch this projector should just be next to me. It's just like a news reporter delivering the news. You got a little projection right next to you.
It's nice. Just showing stuff, just
Yeah,
keeping you up to date. Yeah,
exactly. So no need for it to be
exactly.
behind me. I thought everything needed to be centered. Surfboards can go over on this side to balance out the frame, and then the
Projection go right
projection
there.
right there. Boom.
Real smart. Real
Okay,
smart.
next week that'll be solved. Can you hear the projector whirring through the
No,
microphone? Okay, because it's loud to me, but if
yeah,
you can't hear it, what
not
about
at
this
all.
chair squeak? Can you hear this?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Look
I
at
thought I needed to fix that too,
directional
but
micro
apparently not.
directional microphones.
I know. Okay, well, don't say gay.
Da, 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 the best.
The
We need a.
best.
I think we need a song for "Don't Say Gay."
DJ Seaweed.
Yeah, we need a lead-in song.
DJ Seaweed could have fun with Don't Say Gay.
Come on, Deej. We need you.
There's so many gay songs out there.
Yeah.
So many. So a couple coming off of Eskimo Brothers last week, a number of people let me know. Even the term Eskimo is offensive now to some, and Inuit is the actual preferred term. And then it made me realize Inuit Brothers is way better than Eskimo Brothers. Right?
Inuit Brothers is real good.
We've
Yeah.
both been Inuit. We've
Yeah.
both been Inuit. We're Inuit Brothers.
That's really
It wrote itself.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, and thank you. I'm so sorry for being, I knew Inuit was the preferred nomenclature, and look at us just blowing it.
I mean, this is the ultimate, this is the pinnacle of Don't Say Gay, is we had a problem, tried to create a solution, and the solution was built into the woke cultures already. I mean, they built it themselves.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Inuit Brothers. So anyways, but more follow-up about Eskimo Brothers. This is coming in from Chaz Michael Michaels, longtime commenter on Beach Grit. It says David Lee Roth, Chaz Michael Michaels, double exclamation points.
Do you know, did you know real quick that who Chaz Michael Michaels is?
Yes, from Semi-Pro.
No. Oh, yeah. But do you know who the person behind the name is?
No.
You don't?
Are you talking about in
the Beach Grit commenter, Chaz Michael Michaels? Do you know who he is in real life?
I saw his name in the email, but I don't know if he wants to be anonymous or not.
JP Curry?
It's not JP Curry.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
So this guy, you're right. I do remember that. So this guy wrote Chaz Michael Michaels.
Okay, so this guy's using Chaz Michael Michaels as well.
I'm totally confused. I'm sorry that I threw you totally. He's referring to you as Chaz Michael Michaels.
Okay. Got it. I thought this was coming from Chaz Michael Michaels, and I was like, JP Curry's writing in? Okay, got it.
I actually thought that it was too. And now that I reread it, you're right. This is not JP Curry. Somebody else signed off it was somebody else's email address, but he wrote David Lee Roth ... Chaz Michael Michaels. So I thought he was identifying himself as, but no, he's referencing you.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry.
Man, I'm glad we cleared that at the top though, because I would have been thinking JP Curry wrote this the whole time, and then it would have added a layer of confusion, no doubt.
Good thing we had our drinkag1.com/surf, so our synapses were firing right now to figure that one out.
Brains working,
gut health, all of it. Yep. Immune system, we're both well because of it.
Healthy.
drinkag1.com/surf. Okay, he went on to say, this one's a bit long-winded, but there's been so much goodness in the last few episodes that correlate to my life and my group of friends that I just had to unleash. I just listened to the most recent episode and got quite the kick out of the Don't Say Gay segment. I have a few known Eskimo brothers myself, ranging from a close friend to a guy who is rotting away on death row. Yeah, not kidding.
Wow.
Side note, shouldn't be proud that you have a lot of Eskimo brothers.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It is what it is. Maybe small town.
Yeah.
Okay. I love the term Eskimo brothers, and I can't imagine it would actually cause a real Eskimo any harm. However, if someone down the line chimes in and changes our mind, I have the perfect solution. Esky bros. While hinting at a specific group of people, it's more Eskimo adjacent, and to be quite honest, I think Esky bros just rolls off the tongue better. He's not wrong, but Inuit bros is the replacement. Yeah. While on the subject of Eskimo brothers, I have a question that I questioned what the female version of Eskimo brothers is. A quick search, and the two most common variants are simply Eskimo sisters, lame, and pogo sisters. While there was not much history about to why, I think I like it. I think this topic deserves more discussion. I'll leave that up to you guys. But keeping on the Don't Say Gay train, I was in Vermont for a wedding last year. I believe the segment had just been introduced or was very new. My wife and I were at a brewery and we saw a hat with rainbow colors that said, "Just say gay." While I really wanted to snap a photo of it, there were too many people around and it just couldn't make it happen. But the hat is for a beer at the brewery that at a brewery created to bring awareness to the community. And portion of the sales actually go towards fighting anti-queer legislation. The brewery, by the way, is called alchemistbeer.com.
Alchemist, I know Alchemist beer. They make
Oh,
fine beer.
do you really?
Yeah.
So he goes on to say, so has the grit been wrong all along by saying don't say gay? Just say gay. I don't know. I tend to like using the R word as much as Chaz does, and I think that a wife beater is perfectly acceptable to say, not to wear, and definitely performed the Chinese fire drill back in my high school days. I'll leave my fruit booter question or story for another time, but I recently found out in the wild, I might add, that a friend of mine is a fruit booter. He is a hockey player transplant from Minnesota, so I guess he still loves the feel of the glide in this Florida heat. I've taken up enough time. So I'll end with my own "Don't Say Gay" submission. Since I can't remember if surfing was discussed, I'll just refer to it as a recent episode of Noble Grit. We learned that both of you boys love biscuits and gravy. So do I. So here's my "Don't Say Gay" submission. Risk it for the biscuit. P.S. I just finished Blessed Are the Bank Robbers after thinking about quitting it, but I'm truly glad that I made it to the end. Thanks, Chuck. All right, boys. Keep. Chad in Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Wow, Chad, thank you so much for all of that. And well written, man. Our dear listeners are better writers than I am 9 times out of 10.
Totally agree. Entertaining.
Yeah.
Covered a lot of details here. I will try to go through them one by one. If you saw, we never discussed fruit booter. You just teased it last week. But what would you do if you saw a friend rollerblading in the wild? How
Ooh,
does this affect your friendship?
I mean, it would like, yeah, I think it would affect it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not going to lie. I've never gotten around to the rollerblade aesthetic. Like, I've never seen someone, and I don't want to say never. I'm sure like on the Venice Beach or Santa Monica Boardwalk or something, I've seen somebody doing it and thought, but I've never thought it looked good. Like it's weird. It's like the motion of rollerblading, like that slidey motion thing, the wiggle that you have to do, all of it. I just aesthetically, I can't get my head around it.
I don't think that's it. Because if that person was wearing roller skates, they get a pass.
Not for me. Not
See,
for me.
there's nothing bothersome to me about roller skating.
There's something bothersome to me about a man roller skating. Like,
Oh, well,
y-
you're making this
yeah,
specific to men because that was going to get the free pass for me on the female side rollerblader. I've seen chicks rollerblading in Venice or whatever.
that's fine. Rollerblading or roller skating for women is totally fine. For
Yeah,
me,
for men, yeah.
and I'm not making this about like, I will say you got to cancel Fruit Booter because it's too close to the truth. Is that there's an effeminate, an effeminate energy style that comes off, which is so weird because nothing, and I will say literally maybe nothing, is more masculine than ice hockey, where fights are built into the game. You can
Yeah.
stand and punch each other in the face until somebody goes down to the ice and then it gets broken up. But that's totally acceptable. The way those guys skate, the ferocity with which they skate, the speed, like they're down low, skating there looks incredibly masculine, right? But somehow you take that and you put it on land and you even do the same thing and it just looks broody. I don't want to say it, but it does.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I'm okay also canceling the name Fruit Booter because,
It's too close to the
well,
pro. I mean, it's you're saying it's effeminate, right? Or you're saying, and you're then equating effeminate traits to homosexuality, male
That's not
homosexuality.
that's not the problem to me. The problem to me is that you're saying being gay is bad.
You're Yeah, that's I mean that is too, but you're also really pigeonholing gay. You're saying gay is also being femmy.
I don't know if that's a huge problem
But there's
because
all
I think that stereotype exists for a reason.
but I think haven't we learned through our years now of where gay culture and things have become, what, back when we were kids, I don't know, I had like one or high school, whatever, you know, gay, there wasn't a bunch of gay movies. We hadn't been, exposed to gay characters and TV shows, all this kind of stuff, right? So there was one fairly narrow definition of a gay man, which was a effeminate man, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now I know that, there's bears, there's
I watched Brokeback Mountain.
yeah, exactly. There's cowboys. The gay spectrum has as much, it seems from what I can tell from pop culture, there's very many iterations of what it looks like to be a gay man, right? And so
100%. Yeah.
so the fruit boot part of that, it's fruity, that it's, and I don't even know if that's why people are calling skating, but I feel that that's what it is, that it's an effeminate, it's not bad that it's effeminate. And so then to call it gay because it's effeminate seems offensive.
I I hear you loud and clear. I think the 90% of the offense of this is saying rollerblading is stupid, and so gay people are stupid, and so we're going to call that gay.
Well,
That's the main offense.
I mean, and these things do cross over. Like, so for example, in skiing, uh, early snowboarders, when a skier would go down, there was, well, what's it even called? Like, trick skiing. I can't remember the right name, but they're doing like going off their jumps and doing their flips and stuff like that, like the aerial skiing maybe is what it's called. Uh, but when they sometimes turn around and come in, backwards to the jump. And the early day snowboarders, I've been told, would call that coming in or going in gay. When when you're coming, which is, yeah, I think the fruit boot is very similar to all this,
Yeah.
which is should maybe be retired.
Yeah. So as you were talking your way through the our young experience in high school, where there'd be
Yeah.
like a gay kid in, like I remember this one gay kid in school. If he's not gay, I would, I'll give you every dollar I own. I mean, we were too young. It was like junior high, so there wasn't like sexuality, let's say, that was overt, but he was so effeminate that it was almost
Yes.
like I would bet everything that that guy turned out to be gay. Haven't ever checked in on him, but now that you're discussing it, I do have the awareness that there was also a dude on the football team who was as masculine as possible, who's probably gay now,
Yeah.
and was gay then, but didn't know it and didn't present as. So
Yeah.
to your point, it isn't all effeminate
Yes. And
expression. There are
in
gay people who present every way. We know that now, obviously.
exactly, that's what I'm
Um,
saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But now the question still remains, gay or not, what would you do if you caught a friend rollerblading in the wild? You're just exiting Seaside Market, they're cruising down PCH or whatever, and you just glance, you're like, is that Chuck?
Yeah.
What? And he
Yeah.
does a little twirl and then keeps going, stops at the light, but he keeps shimmying because he doesn't want to lose his heart rate. Then the light turns green and he shimmies off. You're like, that's
Yeah.
Chuck. I know that's Chuck.
That I would block collar. It would be, I don't think we could be great friends anymore. I mean, it would be something where I could say, I suppose if I'm trying to think of a version of this, like if he was full 80s style, right? If he had a Walkman on, if he was like shirtless, oiled up with tanning oil. Do they even sell tanning oil anymore?
I think it's been outlawed in a bunch of states, but you could probably find it in Alabama.
So if he was like all shimmery, short shorts, roller skates, I would just think, okay, you're like cosplaying, which is there. So I don't like that version either. Like the person who's serious into it, I would just be like, I fully understand the dude who played hockey, but once you move away from the ice and the hockey, even in Florida, I'm sorry, you got to go to the ice rink and put on ice skates and play hockey, or you got to hang it up. Like I would feel differently about my friend. I would think
The real
you made him
dilemma.
You made a bad choice somehow. And we're not supposed to always just indulge our desires. If I wanted to, like go down and publicly eat a chocolate cake every day, and this is, of course, unhealthy and whatnot, but a version of this, right? There's just some things, no matter how much I want to do, I'm not supposed to do, and therefore I can't do, even if I want to do it, right?
I mean, the equivalent would be he's a Minnesotan ice skater, hockey player in a new environment, and he's trying to apply, take what he loved there and bring it here. So that'd be you, who is a surfer who moves inland into the desert, and you're like, okay, these sand dunes, I'm going to take my surfboard out there and slide down the sand dunes on my surfboard to get a little taste of the past. No,
Precisely.
it's
It's
just
something that I
stupid. You got to
can't
just
do.
pick up a new thing. That's it.
Exactly. You've got to leave it behind. If it doesn't work in your new environs, then I'm sorry. And I do deeply apologize. I apologize if you really liked this thing. We all have to, give up stuff that we really like a lot, or we're unable to do stuff we really like a lot just because we can't, we have to. Sorry. It's called
Sorry.
adulthood.
It's called adulthood. Okay. Final thought on that listener submission is Eskimo sisters, Pogo sister. I mean, do we want to improve on this at all? You have thoughts? Do you need more time?
Uh, I just think it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, it's a kind of fratty already male thing that there's no and needs be no equivalent on the female side, I feel.
Agreed. I know why. There's already a word for two women who slept with the same man.
Slut.
Enemies. There's no scenario that I can ever envision where two
Yeah.
women who slept with the same men are like having a beer together, laughing about it. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah,
How
it's
was
true.
how was your experience with him? Oh
Yeah,
man, that guy's crazy. Oh yeah,
it's
let's
true.
have a laugh.
Yeah, it's
They're
true.
straight out pulling hair, I
Yeah.
think, is what's happening. Okay, well, we solved that one. Good job.
A lot of work getting done there.
A lot of work getting done there and here today. So thankfully, we get an opportunity for a commercial break right here, so you can rest, you can stretch, you can,
Good.
do whatever you need to do, and then we'll be back. Hydrate. We'll be
I might have
back.
to double down on my drinkag1.com/surf.
You're gonna do a second 8 ounces?
Might have to. Putting
Dude,
in this much work.
who knows? You're gonna turn into the Hulk after this. Your skin's
Yeah,
gonna turn green.
I'll be huge though.
Muscle mass.
Just
All right.
gonna rollerblade straight over to you.
All right. Let's go to commercial break. We'll be back with Barrel or Not. FanDuel.com/surf. When the games tip off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because FanDuel is your home for NBA live betting and the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So even if you miss the first few minutes of the game or you want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can make your picks from the first whistle until the final buzzer. Plus, you can even combine your bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New FanDuel customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/surf to join today. That's FanDuel.com/surf for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 and older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present in DC. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, Chaz, we're back.
Great to be back. That was a relaxing, wonderful time.
Glad you got some time off. Barrel or Not? Taking a limo.
Ooh, okay. Now, are we talking party bus? Are we talking a stretched out SUV?
We're talking classic limo.
a stretched Cadillac or a stretched Lincoln?
I think so.
I'm gonna say full. Got to think about this. I'm gonna say no barrel. I'm gonna
It's
say no barrel.
strange. It's strange, isn't it? That I have the same inclination because taking a limo was the pinnacle of class when we were young. And it
Yes.
somehow has fallen out of fashion to where so much so that it's not even really an option. Like it's not even like zero interest in doing that no matter what the event is. You're right that there is a replacement version of party, girls' bachelor party weekend. We're going to get a stretched something, but it's not
Yes.
a limo. It's never a limo now.
Well, here's the thing about I think the stretched limo was the pinnacle of luxury in the 14-year-old's mind, right? It was literally the pinnacle of luxury for, let's say, 16, 17-year-olds, right? Like going to prom, getting a limo, peak, right? Anything that's peak luxury for a 16 or 17-year-old cannot be peak luxury for adults, right? So this thing, and maybe it started like you got Donald Trump in the back of his stretch limo in the early 80s,
Gordon Gecko.
on a exactly, Gordon Gecko. And it was, the problem with the limo is, what are you getting out of it? So a stretch limo sedan, hard to get into, right? Like, why do you need that much room? Why did Gordon Gecko? I mean, I get that maybe I could see a like, and yeah, so this is what happened is Maybach, Mercedes solved it. Mercedes said it needs to be a little longer. You want to be this guy, this important businessman wants to feel important businessy by being able to stretch out his legs, not be crammed to the seat in front of him and have room between him and his chauffeur. But he doesn't need 20 feet of room. He needs, like 4 feet of room. So we are going to take the idea of the stretch limo. We are going to shrink it down to an appropriate size. And girls' bachelor party, if you actually need to ferry a lot of people around, there's a better thing for that, which is called a bus, a
Yeah.
small bus and we can turn that bus and we can put disco lights, we can make it fun, but that's actually practical. There's easy access in and out. I mean, have you ever been with a bunch of people? Of course you have. Everyone has at least once in a stretch sedan limo where everyone
Yeah.
has to kind of scoot around. It's
Yeah.
a real comfortable, somebody's got to scoot all the way to the farthest place that you can scoot. And then, yeah, everybody, like, it takes a long time for everybody to get out. There's a lot of scooting.
You got to push your
Scooting,
butt in people's faces.
yeah, scooting
You
is
might,
never dignified.
no, you might be wearing a dress and then you got
Yeah,
to get your butt moved. Like it's just,
it's undignified.
you're right. It is, it's they went too long is all
They
it
went too
was.
long.
It was like there was the town car and then some richer guy goes, that's not, I can outdo you. Give me
Yeah,
another 8 feet. You know what? I got
yeah,
plenty of money. The manufacturer is like, it is so impractical for us to cut this car in half and add 8 more feet of car. He goes,
yeah.
shut up. I'm rich.
Do
Do
it.
it just
Yeah,
for the sake of it. This thing won't make it around a turn. Doesn't matter. Do it. I'm going to hire a driver who will figure it out. And that's all it was a showcase of
flex.
flex. That was it. What they're not realizing, and I'm only realizing now, is they should have gone girthy.
Yeah,
Long isn't better. Everybody
no,
knows that. You
wide
want
is better.
girth. Wide
Yeah.
is better. If you had a limo that took up 2 lanes,
If,
if it's
if
the same length as a normal car, took up 2 lanes, that is a flex.
if you have that, if you have a car so wide that you need to have a pickup truck driving behind you that says wide load, then you've arrived.
With flags that
Yeah.
extend to the
Yeah.
length of your girth,
Yes.
that is the ultimate move. A pickup
Yes.
truck in front and behind
Yes.
just to make
Wide
way
load.
for your girth mobile. And it solves the problem that you're talking about.
Yeah, there's no
Like,
scooching.
no, this is a
You get
giant
up and walk
square.
around. You walk around.
This,
You get in and you walk to your seat
this is a
or crawl.
giant square that we all have equal space in. We're all equals. I'm paying. I'm footing the bill. I'm so
Yeah,
rich. We're all equals now.
man. And also, you don't want like talking to your buddies in the limo where you're like looking over and
Yeah.
shouting way down, it's talking over everyone. The girth mobile, you're like talking directly at the people. It's all easy. Everybody's got eye contact with everybody else. Hey, it's nice fat square.
This solves our other issue of like somebody's driving slow in the fast lane or fast in the slow lane, whatever. Now the girthmobile takes up all lanes.
Yeah.
We're going at our pace. You guys, sorry, you're not as rich as us.
And that's what it is. If you want a girthmobile, you can go figure out how to buy a girthmobile.
Tesla's totally going to make a girthy. Elon Musk is totally in a position where he is going to make a girthy Cybertruck.
I mean, the Cybertruck is basically there. The Cybertruck needs one person to say, "Hey, I want this stretched, but not in the way you think. I want it cut down in half and then expanded that way."
Add another Cybertruck in the middle,
Yeah.
and
Some
that will
Cybertruck
be
some Cybertruck owner's fully gonna do this.
for sure, dude, for sure. If this goes
And
viral enough.
we need this show. I know there are like all kinds of very popular like car enthusiast, YouTubes and all this. Like I listened to one dude who he must have been on Rogan or something. But I think I've talked about him on the show before. He took a Tesla, uh, and he put a internal combustion engine in the Tesla. And so let's put a gas engine in the Tesla. That was about like all complicated, but everybody loves to follow along on that journey, right? Like how do you get the Tesla to run off gas? Because it's all computerized. So you got to somehow trick the computer into thinking this. And it was very, very funny to hear how he did it. And I guess, he takes the car to trade shows or whatever. It's like a huge hit. People love the gas powered Tesla. Uh, so somebody who likes these shows or knows a creator of these shows needs to send the idea of a Cybertruck in a Cybertruck. And I want to see this happen.
Totally agree. The good people at Oreo have already done this with their product.
Double stuffed.
So now let's create the DePlorean.
Yeah.
The DePlorean Cybertruck within a Cybertruck.
Yep.
Okay, well, good. I feel like that limo thing, it's been in the back of my mind. I never, like, Kevin Miller actually submitted that one. And as soon as he submitted, I'm like, man, the limo's been in the back of my mind for like 20 years. I just never like brought it to the front of my mind to really think about it, but it's always been there haunting
Back
me.
of the mind for like 35. I mean, it's the back of the mind since prom
Yeah.
days in high school when
Yeah.
thinking that, man, the people who got limos, but then what are we, then being in a limo and being like, oh, so now I'm in a limo. But yeah, great one. Thanks, Kevin
Yeah.
Miller.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to make a note for next week real quick. Okay. So the second one actually comes from a listener as well. Barrel or Gnaw, learning to tie knots. Hello, David and Chaz. This is Steve from Alaska. We met at the Boardroom Show last year. I've been living in and around the commercial fishing industry for nearly 40 years. One thing that I have learned is the importance of tying knots. Knots became part of everyday life, making many tasks safer and easier. Simple knots such as a bowline, lark's head, clove hitch, half hitch, tucker knot, and the square knot are easy to learn and essential knowledge in or around the water. Let's focus on the square knot for a moment. Apply it for daily use. We will use the term line since I am a fisherman. If I was a cowboy, I would say rope. Haha. So take the two ends of the line and first tie left over right, then right over left, or vice versa, and then pull tight. The knot can handle lots of tension and can be workably untied easily. I share this with anyone who's ever lost their board shorts during a wipeout. Bruce Irons, I'm looking at you. Tie the first overhand knot right over left, then the bunny ear overhand knot left, tie left over right. Do this with your running shoes or work boots too. No more untied laces, no more need for double knots. I know that this sounds confusing, but just YouTube square knot. Let me know how this works for you guys. Cheers and keep work.
Huge barrel, huge barrel. I do some sailing from time to time, and it's so essential to know different types of knots too. Obviously, knots, there's not one catch-all. There's some knots better for some things, some knots better for others.
Exactly.
And having a rough, at least 3 or 4 knots that you can tie, like it's not hard to learn. It doesn't take much time to learn, and it ranks you up so high, so quick. Like there's always a time. Doesn't maybe happen every week or every month, guaranteed once a year it'll happen where you will be there. You will need to secure something, or someone will need something secured, and you will be the person tying the knot. You all of a sudden are John Wayne in that scenario.
So certainly fishermen, outdoorsmen, people in the military, cowboys need knots way more than I do. I live a life of leisure, rarely would I think I need this skill? And yet, 5 times a year, I need to tie something, and I only have one knot, and it is the knot that I use to tie my shoes with, and it is ineffective. And so I'll tie my kid's balloon to something, and then, the balloon doesn't fly away, but later I need to untie the balloon from said
Yeah.
thing, and now I
Yeah.
got to get scissors out because I can't, so having a little knot, like you said, 5 knots. Like I remember when I was a kid, go horseback riding sometimes, and they taught me how to take the horse's reins or whatever and rope them around I don't even know, a post.
Yeah.
The
Hitching
horse,
post.
the
What they're
the
called.
hitching post. The horse can't pull away, but in order to release it, it's one simple tug for me. The horse is too dumb to realize it, but it's just one simple tug, and you can run, off to chase the Indians quickly
Yes.
in that scenario.
To chase
So
the Native Americans.
exactly, thank you.
I mean the indigenous. I think it's not even Native American anymore, to be honest. I think it's indigenous.
The indigenous peoples.
Yeah.
So there you go. I think I am going to commit. And that's the other thing, is it's all available on YouTube right now. You can learn them this weekend and be outfitted for life.
And it's way better than scrolling Instagram, right? You're sitting there with like actually learning. It's a tactile skill. It basically covers a lot of what you're doing when you're scrolling. You're like doing stuff with your hands, and you can learn that you're actually getting a skill, and a manly skill, a valuable skill.
Highly important.
Yep.
So into this.
Big barrel.
Thank you, Steve from Alaska.
Yeah,
I
Steve.
remember meeting you very well, actually. Okay, final barrel or not comes also from a listener, this one in the form of a call and also a call back from a previous episode.
Hey boys, Tom the Tree Man up here in Rhode Island, the great Northeast. Appreciate the shout out on the grit. A few weeks ago, TLS, you were talking about how you met me in the Charlotte airport. I think you were coming back from your foiling workshop there, and met you and the wife and kids. Made you feel famous. Glad to be of service. But anyway, I was listening to that podcast where you were talking about meeting me in the Charlotte airport. Of all the places on the planet that I could have been at that time listening to that podcast, I was in the Charlotte airport. I know you already know that. I messaged you, but bears repeating. Anyway.
I'll get back to the call in a second, but I do want to stop right there. That was remarkable. I was telling you a story on air about meeting this guy, Tom the Treeman, in the Charlotte airport. Later that week, or 2 weeks later, he was listening to that episode, and he happened to be in the Charlotte airport again when he was listening to me tell that story.
The question I would have is, how often is Tom the Train Man in Charlotte? This becomes less and less like, wow, if Tom happens to be flying to Charlotte 5 times a week for business.
He's not. He's a tree man in Rhode Island. Doesn't require a lot of travel. And when I met him in Charlotte, he was coming back from, I want to say, the Caribbean from a surf trip. So this wasn't like a regular route that he was taking.
Man, so that is someone should have bought a lottery ticket that day.
I mean, it really does. Things like this happen. I'll tell you another story after the call, but things like this happen every once in a while, and I want to soak it in. I know I won't figure out the answer, but I at least want to revel in it for a little bit because I feel like it means something.
Well, and it's a better way to live life, I feel, that not everything is just scientifically explainable, that there is mystery out there, right? There is like forces at work.
Totally. Okay, well, we'll come back to this thought after his call.
That's one. Second thing I got for you, this is important while we're solving the world's problems here, the horseshoe toilet seats. Now, everybody knows you go into a unisex bathroom, you're going to lift it up unless you're an animal, right? Now, you've lifted it up, you feet in the toilet. Now, what are you going to do with it? You're going to put that sucker back down so that the next animal that comes in is going to pee on it, so that some lady has to come in and wipe it off. Or you're going to do them a service and leave it up so that the next animal that comes in behind you, the kind of people that, leave gum in a urinal or something, the next animal that comes in behind you won't pee on the seat. So leaving the horseshoe seat up, barrel or not. All right, thanks, gents.
So unconventional line of thought, but sound reasoning.
I totally understand what you're saying, Tom, and I've got your solution for you. I've got it. It is this is almost a tools to live by, to be quite frank, but we will break it into a barrel or not. And I'm going to say you've got this one is entirely where you're at. So if you are a place and it's unisex bathroom, but it's predominantly men. For example, I'm going to say a sporting event, a football game, right? A somewhere where predominantly men, and the chances are better than 60% that another man will use that unisex bathroom seat up. So I say sports arenas, um, unless you're watching a WNBA game, uh, this kind of place. Now, if you're at the airport, you got to think, okay, it's 50-50, probably men, women, but I would guess that probably women are using the toilet more. So I'm going to say you got a 60% chance that it's going to be a woman going in there. Then you put it down. So you assess your surroundings.
I like what you're trying to do, but sports arenas and airports don't have unisex bathrooms. And that's the problem here is that it's going to be a restaurant where you don't know who's coming in. It's a 50-50 crapshoot in most unisex bathrooms.
I mean, if it's a restaurant, but again, be aware of your surroundings. At any restaurant, who's your clientele? Is this like a smoky bar steakhouse kind of thing? Or is this a, modern take on California cuisine, right? Like, so you just got to think there's never an even 50-50 split. Every, almost every place is leaning slightly one way or the other.
Starbucks has unisex bathrooms. It's 50-50.
I'm going to say more women go to Starbucks.
So here's my solution to this. I think that in your home, you do your wife a solid and you
Sits pinkle.
always clean up after yourself and you put the toilet seat down.
Or sits pinkling.
Sits pinkle. All right. Sorry, I forgot.
Sits pinkling covers all of this also. If you want to go easy.
So in that scenario, you're doing the gross work. You don't want your wife to have to touch the toilet seat, whatever. So that's the proper move there. In a public environment, though, I think that you're doing the wife or the woman a solid by leaving it up because you can't. I think this is Tom's point. You can't trust that the next male that comes in is going to clean up after himself because guess what? We've spent our entire lives in men's rooms. Dudes do not clean up after themselves. It's a horror show in men's rooms.
But I've got a question for you. What is going to make the woman coming in after you feel better? Will it be to come in and see some splash on the rim and the seat up and thinking, I don't even know what's on. I got to touch this thing now. Or she comes in, she sees the seat down, nice and pristine.
The only scenario that the seat is down is that you just left it pristine for her. Once you leave the room, the odds are that the seat's going to get defiled.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So it's incumbent upon you to weigh those odds. What are the odds that a man comes in versus a woman? Where am I? What's my audience here? Right? Like there's a chance you're going to get it wrong, but
I'm playing the odds as well. And what I'm saying is I am leaving the seat pristine for the next woman that comes in. Because any dude that comes in, he's not going to need to put the seat down. So the seat's going to stay upward in a pristine condition until a woman comes in and it guarantees that she gets pristine. Yes, she has to now touch the seat, but at least it's a pristine seat.
But what if the guy who comes in is also though an animal and just splashing all over the place, splashing the under part of the seat, right? Like where it's just, I mean, you can lose there too, to be quite frank.
That's a half an inch of plastic and it's on the underside of it. I'm safe. You can have tons of pee under the seat. I'm safe from it once I'm sitting on it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I see you. I hear you. But I still think there are places where okay, so for the ones that we'll say are almost 50-50, we'll say Chili's and we'll say Panda Express. I'm gonna say leave
way
up.
more dudes in Panda Express.
Yeah. I'll say leave up. But if you know, I'm gonna say Starbucks. I wonder. I'm gonna have to look right after the show. I bet the Starbucks client, I'm gonna go, it's like 65-35 women.
I'd love to know.
The person who goes into Starbucks.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
I mean, all their campaigns, I feel, are geared, not all of them, but most of them, like no dude is getting all hyped on pumpkin spice season. But that's
No.
Starbucks. Most of their campaigns are seasonal fruity stuff.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate Tom really rethinking what we thought was a truism.
Complete. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
No.
he's totally right. That seat, anytime I've ever entered a men's room and their seat was down, it was filthy. There's
Yes.
literally 99.9% of the time, it is a disaster. And so the idea of leaving it up
Protecting.
does keep it somewhat protected. So I really appreciate the thought.
Really like it.
I'm going barrel, leave it up.
I'm going to still look at my environs, but yeah, leave it up. If I think a dude is coming in, if I'm reasonably convinced that a dude is going to come in after me, it's up.
This is as profound as leaving your shopping cart at the end of the parking lot,
Yeah.
where everybody would shame you for doing it, except
you're doing the right thing.
you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the kind of work we do here.
Hard.
Hard work. And let's hope that this episode goes viral and we start seeing double wide cyber trucks and Inuit
toilet seats
brothers
up.
and toilet seats up. And yeah, this is what we will be known for. This will be our legacy.
Yep.
All right, man. Anything else you got going on that you want to promote?
No, can't think of one thing except
Okay.
for don't shop today at Target, Walmart. I think Costco's, I think maybe shop at Costco. Maybe that's too big to fail.
I'm going to show up at Walmart and it'll be like that scene from Vanilla Sky in Times Square at the beginning where Tom Cruise is running full out because there's nobody around. That's going to be me in Walmart in 20 minutes.
I have watched Vanilla Sky, I think 3 times, long enough between each 3 that I forget. I like start them thinking, wow, yeah, okay, here we go. And then I get to the middle and I think this is an intriguing story. I'm totally in. And get to the end and think, what a piece of garbage that movie is. 3 separate times.
Really? I think it's I haven't watched it in 15 years.
You got to watch it. The end is so tacky. The end is so cheesy that it wrecks the entire movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
I'm wondering now. So the original film, Obre Los Ojos, is I wonder if it ends the same way.
I don't know. This one I just remember being every time I get to the end, I think I cannot believe I fell for it again. Because I'm always loving it in the middle.
Because I remember liking the original as well, which Penelope Cruz is also in.
Okay.
It's a Spanish film. Almodovar, I think, was the filmmaker. Yeah.
A good
early
filmmaker.
Almodovar film. Yeah. Obre Los Ojos, which is Open Your Eyes.
Yeah.
And I remember liking that. Vanilla Sky, I feel like, took some creative license and maybe made it cheesier, which might be why the ending isn't good.
Tacky.
I have to rewatch it.
Yeah. I'm not going to spoil it.
Anyways, check us out on Noble Rot on Monday. That is Chaz Smith's show that he produces. And then also, I think next week, let's kick off the Patreon. We're going to do basically an extra 30 plus minutes of a different style of the grit and make it available once a week for Patreon supporters.
I'm excited. I'm excited to give this a go.
I know, me too. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So look forward to that potentially next week. And we'll be there on Monday on Noble Rot. Until then.
Keep working.